Well, 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 so that cocky, smug little lump of a human, John Paul Miller, got his house raided and probably redecorated by the FBI. What a way to start November, right? I mean, good for us and very not good for John Paul. I don't know about you, but I am absolutely giddy. From what I've learned, the FBI showed up at JP's house with guns drawn, bullhorn out, announcing their presence. JP had left a couple of minutes prior to their arrival and gone to Starbucks. A couple of agents met up with him there, and he was served a search warrant, along with his mocha, chai, soy, oatmeal, iced latte, bravada, El Camino de Pepe Le Pew, or whatever it is he orders at Starbucks. The search warrant is sealed, which means that he wasn't able to see the reason the FBI was performing the search, just what property they were going to search. I would have loved to have seen the look on his face when those agents showed up. John Paul allegedly told the agents to take care of his dogs or something like that and to make sure they didn't mess up his house. Can you imagine the audacity it takes to tell the FBI to make sure that they're neat with their raid of his house? It is a raid, not a browse, not a little look-see. They weren't perusing or window shopping or having a bit of a wee glance. It was a raid, you putz. Maybe they should start referring to it as a loot and plunder, just to make it clear what will be happening. The agents didn't detain JP at the time, but told him he couldn't return home until they were finished. It wasn't just a few agents that showed up to his house either. There were 25 agents at his house for about 5 hours. The agents were mainly part of the ERT, which is the FBI's evidence response team. The ERT agents are specially trained in evidence gathering. The agents took multiple evidence boxes and bags out of the house, as well as some computers. They even looked around his yard and took photos. I have received conflicting information about what happened yesterday at Solid Rock or Living Water at Market Common or the church formerly known as JP's. The first was that the church taped off the driveway and that Trisha was seen taking boxes out of the church. If our precious Trisha Rita was taking evidence away, I hope she knows that the FBI might want to be her special friend when they find out. The second rumor was that the FBI had taped off the church. The third was that the FBI raided the church. I have seen zero proof of that. The only thing I've seen is that there was yellow tape across the drive, and it definitely did not look like anything the FBI would have put up. It looked more like it could have been Trisha Rita's leftover caution tape she used to decorate for Halloween. If the FBI had waited till closer to Christmas to raid JP's house, it might have been silver tinsel garland across the driveway. JP returned to his house sometime last night. Do you think when he got there he was performing a frantic mental inventory to see if he could figure out what they took? How funny would it be if the agents took some random items just to mess with him? Like his salt and pepper shakers, the remote to the television, but not the television. One sock from each pair he owns. Just the middle couch cushion. Every roll of toilet paper in the house. All the loose hangers in his closet. Only the blue towels. I could do this all day, kids. And this is probably why I would not make a good evidence collector. All of my coworkers would be boxing up actual evidence, and I'd have a box of light bulbs, a single shoe, one ceiling fan blade, and all the restaurant menus and ketchup packets that he kept in the kitchen junk drawer. Before the raid began, there was a person found deceased on the property that Solid Rock/Living Water purchased for their new building. There have been different stories floating around about it, but there has been nothing on the news. There was a call to police at 9:43 a.m. of a suspicious or sudden death, but that is the only concrete information I have about it at the moment. There were also rumors that the FBI and Horry County Sheriff's Department were at the Emmons Preserve Clubhouse last night, which is the pool where Chris Skinner drowned. There are not any news reports to verify this. There was an Horry County Sheriff's vehicle that was parked across the street from the pool last night, but someone who lives in the neighborhood stated that a deputy lives there, and that is the vehicle's usual parking spot. So what happens now? Well, mostly we wait. The FBI has probably seized JP's passport and possibly frozen his assets. He might even get one of those spiffy ankle monitors to wear for a while. I wouldn't be surprised if he has his very own FBI shadow, too. Whoever it is, I hope they irritate JP on a regular basis. There have been certain people who have vehemently denied that John Paul was being investigated by the FBI. Multiple news outlets reported back in the middle of May that JP was under FBI investigation, including NBC News. So why did some people not believe it? Was it because JP and his attorney Rumpled Russell said the FBI wasn't investigating? Why would anyone believe JP more than a news organization that has been around since 1940? And even now, Rumpelstiltskin is telling people that the FBI is just fishing, and now that the FBI has raided JP's house, it can all finally be over. I mean, I think it is going to be over, but not the way that JP wants it to be. I don't think the FBI spends money and time just to go fishing. They had to show probable cause to a federal judge to even get the search warrant, and that federal judge had to agree that there was probable cause for a search warrant. Russell, federal judges aren't just willy-nilly handing out search warrants for fishing expeditions, you doink. Some of the FBI deniers are even doubling down and trying to say that this is a recent investigation, and the FBI wasn't actually investigating JP months ago. The lead FBI agent didn't just wake up one day and decide to raid JP's house. The FBI agents don't have let's pick a house meetings where they randomly throw darts at a map to see what house they're going to search that day. They put in months and sometimes years into an investigation before it gets to the raid stage. To suggest that the FBI hasn't been investigating JP for a while is just a super dumb thing to say. There have been comments made that the FBI was investigating JP for interstate domestic violence, which is USC 2261. USC is United States Code and is made up of federal statutes. 2261 has to do with domestic violence that crosses state lines. It is highly unlikely that the reason for the warrant has been revealed since the warrant was sealed. The FBI doesn't release the reason they're conducting a search to anyone when it's a sealed warrant. So I can't say for sure what the search warrant was based on. The spokesperson for the Columbia, South Carolina FBI office made this statement. The FBI was at John Paul Miller's house conducting court-authorized law enforcement activity. I cannot provide any other details beyond that. It does seem as though if it was just financial dealings, the church would have been raided at the same time as his house. Or maybe the FBI was watching the church and watching little Trisha Rita lug out whatever she was allegedly removing, and maybe they're going to pay her a visit soon. Do you think those that have stood up and stood by John Paul through all of this might be getting just a little nervous? I would think that whoever JP has had any kind of consistent contact with is going to be looked at by the FBI. I am not envious of those who might be losing sleep now because they decided that being connected to someone like JP was a worthy endeavor. And if they still stick by him after this, they are either delusional to the point that they are a danger to themselves and to society, or they endorse what John Paul has done and is still doing. While we're waiting for the FBI to make its next move, let's continue to discuss justice for Micah. But let's please only share verified information and not muddy the waters with conjecture. I even heard one completely asinine theory that there was a body found in the back of JP's truck. I don't know where people get this nonsense and why they can't extrapolate that if there was a body found in his truck, he would be in custody. Let's not be one of these people. This raid has brought us one step closer to justice, and boy howdy was it one giant step. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, stay safe and be happy.